at this point, I think the Westerners must accept defeat. I mean, they should stop being jealousy and have bad feelings towards the success that China has managed to accomplish. It is none other than their own fault, the fact that they have let the Chinese surpass them. I mean, let's watch this British guy explain and show how beautiful China is and how horrible and terrible the Western world is, including the United States of America.
I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, just look at this. Just look at this. What on earth is going on? That is insane. Meanwhile, in America, it looks like this. This is Chongqing East Station, and no, it's not an airport, it's not a shopping mall, it's not a sci-fi movie set. It's a train station, a brand new high-speed mega hub sprawling across more than 1.2 million square meters with tree-shaped pillars, glass skylights, and a roof that looks like it could launch into orbit. Meanwhile, in Trump's twisted, toxic, turbulent, truth-averse wasteland of America, they've got overpriced healthcare, slinging paranoia, and reality TV politics dressed up as governance. The only thing growing faster than inequality is the national debt. And their train stations, well, they look like this.
I think at this point, I mean, there is nothing else really. People, they try to lie and portray China as the evil of the world, as the danger of the world, the enemy. I don't know what China has ever done to them. I mean, it is true and visible to everybody that it is just because of the jealousy. They see what China has managed to accomplish. While the Western world has failed and they have pursued these crazy policies. We have the greatest military budget in the world, but at the end of the day, that money ends up in the hands of a few people, of the rich, of those who owns the companies which provide the weapons. You know, it is told to the people. You know, what they have mastered is manipulating and lying to the people. You know, we can hear many Westerners would love to say, oh, you know, look at China, they don't have democracy. You know, yeah, of course they don't have democracy, but at this point, who has democracy? That's the question. And is it really true democracy? At this point, it's not really true democracy, because if you see some of the stuff that is coming out there in the Western world, the rottenness, the corruption, you know, it really challenges the notion of the whole system called democracy. You know, the world used to believe that America and the Western world, Britain, France, are the beacons of democracy. We must follow what they have done, and maybe we'll become like them, and maybe we'll succeed and prosper like them. But as the world sees this now, the current state of the Western world, questions begin to emerge that is this really the true democracy? It's not really true democracy. These people they have managed to capture the state and managed to manipulate the system and control the system for their own benefit, or for the benefit of the oligarchy, the rich of the richest, the billionaires, only the 1%. The whole economy and the whole system functions the best for the few, you know, and what they have mastered and the weapon that they have managed to use is controlling information, what the people ends up getting. You know, they lie to the people over and over again. All they do is lie, manipulate information, tell you red is blue, do not believe your eyes. You know, water is dry. You don't listen to facts. Ignore everything else. Ignore your own mind. Ignore your own brain. Don't think for yourself. We will tell you some of the scandals and some of the lies and some of the corruption is blatant. It's visible. It can be seen. It's evident. It's right there in front of the people to see. But and so many people in the Western world, where they talk and they talk and they boast and say we have democracy, we can talk, but at the end of the day it's not changing anything really, because these people just keeps on doing whatever they want. It is that this democracy, it's a facade to just make you feel good about yourself, as if you have a choice, as if you have a say. But in real fact, we all don't have a say. They do whatever they want. These elected officials, when they go on the campaign trail, they say things that are completely different with what they're going to do. They just make it sound complicated and promise all these things. But in reality, when they get there, when they get to the office to start enacting the policies, all they do is lie. All they do is serve the interest of the few. The whole political system is captured. So what is it really? I mean, you can clearly tell some of the policies being taken, it's not for the benefit of the people. When they say the American interest, when they say British interest, when they say French interest, they're not really talking about the people themselves. They're talking about a few individuals' interests really being protected. At the end of the day, when they talk about let's have the strongest military, let's have this massive, humongous military budget. They say it's for the safety of the country, but at the end of the day, that money ends up being used to blow up people, millions and millions of people around the world, killing people. I'm sure the average American, if they were to be told the real facts and the real truth of what's really going on, they wouldn't support all this. But of course they are manipulated, of course they are lied to, and they are told all these beautiful stories. Of course the level of corruption and the level how bad it is will never be the same. China is not the same as North Korea, it's not the same as Iran, it's not the same as Russia. One thing for sure is the powerful are just too powerful for anybody to control, and they don't care about what ends up happening to us, whether it is done behind the scenes and quoted in all these lies as the West does, or it's done in Russia and everybody's suppressed not to say anything. It is the same thing. They're all corrupt. They're all doing evil stuff and not caring about the average person. I guess maybe China is better. I mean, if you look at this, they have done something a little bit better in the sense that they have benefited the majority. If they build all these massive infrastructure developments, I mean, it will benefit the average Chinese, because they are the ones who have the convenience of using these bullet trains and having this beautiful infrastructure and having things that actually works, as compared to the Western world, which the system actually not working and they're not benefiting the average person. The housing has become more expensive, products have become more expensive, life in general has become more expensive. Compared to China, things are still affordable. The average person can afford a life, compared to the Western world, which has become something else, impossible to live. Millions and millions of people can't afford homes, people becoming homeless, and they are told, and the rest of the world is told, these are the greatest of all countries in the world. But in reality it isn't anymore. I mean, the appetite for the rest of the world looked up to the West, and like, I wish I could go to America. But today, that is no longer the dream, it's no longer the greatest. That is the truth, and that is the fact. But of course the narrative will always be China is bad, the rest of the world is poor, we are the greatest. Yeah, all they have mastered is lying to their own people and lying to the rest of the world, manipulating information. That is the greatest weapon that they have. They hide the truth. They don't want the average person to know the fact that they don't care about the average person. there is no democracy in this world. It's all a facade. It's all a scam. At the end of the day, it is meant to benefit a few people who have captured the system, who knows how to control the system, who knows how to control the narrative. But at this point, really, the Western world must accept, that they have been defeated. China has emerged as one of the greatest. It is clearly evident now that the Chinese have blown out the Americans out of the water, and the Chinese are leading in this world. There is something called 64 critical technologies. In 2003, the United States of America was leading 60 of those 64. China was only leading in 3 of them. And in 2025, the tide have reversed completely. China leads 57 of those 64 technologies, and the US only leads 7 of those. What went wrong is, of course, the policies that the West have adopted. They did not focus on developing and improving in all these technologies or advancing in any way. But the Chinese were focused and honed on building and improving their own countries. In as much as the US talks about the strongest military in the world, blah 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 blah, but it doesn't help if you're doing that at the expense of the average people and the livelihood of the people of the country. You're not improving and solving the problems back home. You're not advancing, fixing the infrastructure to the point of these subways that are deteriorating and disgusting like that. Even Africa doesn't have subways so dirty like that. It is so disgusting. But as compared to the Chinese, in as much as, yes, they're talking about developing their military as well, but they have also focused on the infrastructure, which benefits the average person. That is the difference. But it is time for the world, especially for the West, to accept the fact that the world is no longer the same. The world order has shifted and have changed. We have other countries that have emerged even better than the Western world, even better than the United States of America. They can keep lying, they can keep hurting, but it will never help them. It will never change anything. The reality is just there. If anybody wants to look for the reality, they can clearly tell that the Chinese have done amazing things.